And welcome to On the Record, an AFL interview. I'm Tim Capper from arenafootball.com. With us this episode, an old AFL alum who just became the first ever AFLer to be drafted by the Canadian Football League in their CFL draft. We have Randy Colling on the phone. Congratulations and thanks for joining us.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Well, first, we know you had a history with the Arena Football League. You were with the Cleveland Gladiators for 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. You are, I guess we can say, the defending first-team All-Arena nose guard, because you got that last year.
Correct.
First of all, how was your experience playing with in the Arena Football League?
I always loved playing in the Arena Football League, man. I actually played a little more than you mentioned. I started in 2013, signed a futures deal with the Buffalo Bills early in 2014, and then I came back to Cleveland halfway through the 2014 season, and then I played 2015 and 16. So I've been in there, pretty much 4 years, 4 seasons, and I haven't been able to seem to leave the Cleveland Gladiators. I've had a few opportunities, and it's just somewhere I really fell in love with,
How was it being under? I know you had to deal with some slight modifications with the head coaching changes. I mean, obviously with Ron Selesky joining the Saskatchewan Roughriders and then coming back. But how was it being under Coach Selesky and Coach Tunn as your coaches?
Well, first of all, I couldn't tell you one bad thing about those guys. They're a big reason that I didn't want to leave Cleveland. I felt like I fit in there. I didn't have a lot to worry about. Coach Tom was a great guy. I was sad to see him go, but also glad to see Coach Selesky get the opportunity. Coach Selesky was actually a huge help for me in this process with him doing the CFL thing for that season. He kind of gave me the heads up on how I might be able to do the dual citizenship thing, and really was implemental in giving me the idea to get this process started.
Now, before we talk about how that dual citizenship process came about, what got you into football originally, Randy?
Well, when I was, just a wee one, like 7, 8, my older brother Casey, who I had always really looked up to, he was already playing football, so it wasn't even a question. It was, he's doing it, I want to do it, And once I got started, I could never let it go. It was just a lifestyle.
Now, you mentioned, about your dual citizenship. And as fans may or may not know, when it comes to the CFL draft, you do have to be a Canadian citizen in order to be drafted in their college draft. How is it that you ended up becoming Canadian and then being eligible for the 2017 draft?
Well, a couple of years ago, I think it was 2014, the collective bargaining agreement up there changed it. So if you had dual citizenship, you could be considered a national. And now from there on, it was just paperwork and a process. I probably didn't find out about that. I definitely didn't find out about it right away, probably early 2015 or something. But I started getting the process going, and, was getting an immigration lawyer, filling out all the right stuff, letting the CFL know. And I actually got my dual citizenship, I think it was maybe July last year or something, but it was after the CFL draft. And if you're a Canadian or a national up there, you have to be in the draft. And so if I would have went any other time, I would have forfeited that national status. So I had to sit patiently, well, definitely not sit, play that season in Cleveland, which, I would never regret.
Right.
And
Now, are either of your parents Canadian? I'm guessing because you became a dual citizenship. Which one is Canadian?
Yeah, my dad's Canadian, and that's why I was able to make it happen.
Oh, okay. So did you spend a lot of time in Canada as a child?
I'd say, maybe a few times a year we'd go up, and I think the last place I remember to visit my grandfather was we'd go to London, Ontario. But I remember visiting like my dad's childhood town where he was born, which was Hamilton, a couple times as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you first heard that you were high on the draft list for all the different Canadians who were eligible to be drafted, what was your thought in thinking that you might be able to be drafted and to make the jump from the AFL to the CFL?
I was seeing a lot of things, hearing from a lot of teams. But I would look at, like a mock draft or something, and some would have me really high and some would have me, in the last round. So I really wasn't sure exactly where you were going, where I was going to go. So it was a pretty crazy experience. I thought, maybe there's a slim chance I'd be that early, but I figured it'd be, mid-rounds or somewhere in there at best. So it was it was a really good experience, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then you find out that the Calgary Stampeders traded for the sixth spot with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and then you were announced as the sixth pick overall in the 2017 CFL draft. Had you known already that you were going to be picked up by Calgary, or did somebody actually? Is it the thing like we see in the NFL draft all the time where you get the call?
Well, first of all, I'd heard from Calgary a good amount, and their D-line coach, Coach Mace, I was hearing from him, and I was kind of had a feeling that maybe that could be where I'd end up. But to answer your question, we're sitting there watching, not really know what's going on, me and my family, and I see the trade, and I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna do it with me, you know what I mean?
Right.
But all of a sudden, it says the pick is in, just like the NFL draft, and I see the 403 number come on my phone right as it says the pick is in, which I knew was the Calgary guys, and I can't even describe that feeling. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Now, what's very funny, and I don't know if you actually know this, Randy, and a lot of old school arena football fans may know this, but you actually have a tie to your current president and GM, John Hufnagel. John Hufnagel was actually a head coach in the Arena Football League for the New Jersey Red Dogs back in 97-98, and that team became the Cleveland Gladiators all those years later.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's actually kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to? What's next for you? I mean, obviously you got training camp coming up in less than a month. What's the process from you to transfer from your home to moving to Calgary?
A lot of that I still haven't figured out. It's a 35-hour drive or so from my house near Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So that's new. I'm not sure exactly how that move's going to go. I'm excited to get up there as soon as I can and experience Calgary. I hear nothing but good things about Calgary. I hear it's one of the best organizations from numerous people, like one of my good friends, Brian Bukowski, who I played with in Cleveland. He played up in Montreal, and he said, that's a great place to be. That's a good team. That's always going to give you a shot at where your ultimate goal is.
Mm-hmm. Well, we obviously want to wish you all the best. You will always be a part of the AFL family, Randy, being that you're now going to be an AFL alum. But good luck to you in Calgary, and may you have an amazing rookie season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd like to thank Randy Colling for joining us for this episode of On the Record. Do not forget that you can catch live AFL action throughout the 2017 season on AFL Now or the CBS Sports Network. I'm Tim Capper from ArenaFootball.com. Watch the rebound off the net. Rebound off the net.